If you're trying to lose weight and you just can't, that scale just won't budge, there are typically 3 reasons why this isn't occurring, and we're going to cover those today. Maybe you're exercising 3 times a week or more. Maybe you're eating properly, or you think you're eating properly. A keto diet, low carb type diet, paleo, carnivore, however you want to describe it. There's a lot of different low carb diets, but maybe you're following these regimens and things just aren't moving. So what do you do about that? I know you're probably frustrated, and I get it. I've been working with patients with stubborn weight loss for close to 25 years now, and this is much more of an issue in the last 5 years, maybe 10 years than it was 15, 20 years ago, because there's more things that we have to contend with in our environment and food supply that prohibit us from losing weight, and we'll get into that. But don't fret, okay? You still need to continue to eat properly and exercise, but there are 3 things which I'm going to talk about right now that are going to really help you uncover how to get that scale to move. Now, as a preface to these 3 barriers which we're going to cover, you need to make sure that you actually are keeping your diet in check and you are exercising on a regular basis. And what I tell my patients as just general overall health and wellness advice is you want to exercise a minimum of a half hour 3 times a week. Get that heart pumping, whether it's walking, some type of cardiovascular activity, some type of game, pickleball, tennis, whatever you enjoy doing, or some resistance training. You have to do it a minimum 3 times a week for 30 minutes, preferably an hour. So that's number 1. Number 2, you want to keep your carbohydrates at 75 grams or less per day. 75 grams or less per day. So you're going to have to do a little homework and track your diet and take a look at how much carbohydrate consumption you're getting. Because you may look at it and say, oh, I don't need over 75 grams of carbs a day. But if you eat 2 pieces of bread, you eat an apple and a banana, there's your 75 grams of carbs for the day. You can't consume any more, okay? So that may take a little work. I have in the description some tips for sugar cravings, a video and a PDF, which you can get, and that's going to help you if you do have a difficulty actually achieving 75 grams or less a day of carbohydrates. I had a patient a few years ago, and she was eating about 50 to 75 grams of carbs per day. She was about 30 pounds overweight. She was in pretty good health overall, but I had her start filling out a food log, and even though she was eating about 50 to 75 grams of those carbs per day, what I noticed was she was drinking 2 glasses of red wine every night. And we kept working, got her on a diet, got her on some supplements, and some other health areas that we were working on were improving, but she just wasn't budging with that weight. So I convinced her to knock off wine for 2 weeks. I just said, hey, let's do an experiment. Let's see how your body runs without alcohol. And guess what? Within 2 weeks, she dropped 10 pounds, just like that. So sometimes it can be a higher glycemic index food, which alcohol is. It spikes your blood sugar and that causes fat storage, and that's not what we want. So little tip, but in general, try and keep your carbs 50 to 75, give it a shot, see how you do. All right, the first reason why you have stubborn weight loss is because you're toxic. I'm sorry to say it, but you're toxic. Unfortunately, we live in a very toxic environment. There are pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, cleaners, detergents, soaps, cosmetics, antiperspirant deodorant. There are chemical toxins and additives in our food supply. Even if you watch out for these things, you're still getting exposed to them, and they slowly accumulate in your body. And what does the body do? Well, they're toxic. They're poisons, so the body shoves them in your fat cells, and they get locked in your fat. And the body doesn't want to lose that fat, because then those toxins can be damaging to your system. So we have to get those out safely and minimize our exposure to these things. You can't completely avoid the environmental chemicals and heavy metals that we're exposed to. It is what it is. We can definitely minimize our exposure, but we don't have to totally eliminate it. We don't have to live in a bubble, okay? Because our body has the ability to detoxify. It just does. You know, we have a liver, we have a kidney, we have 2 kidneys actually, And we can detoxify these things, but when these accumulate slowly over time, over decades, and our health, as it slowly deteriorates when we age, because we're not taking care of ourselves, things aren't, our metabolism isn't working quite as well as we were when we were in our teens and 20s and early 30s. Well, what happens is these things accumulate, and then they start to really affect us. So it's like we're walking around with a piano on our back with these fat cells stuck, with all these toxins and poisons, and we just can't dislodge them unless you really know what you're doing. It's just eating properly and exercising isn't going to do it. So let me tell you how we can get these out of your system safely and effectively. Reduce this chemical load so we can stay ahead of the curve so they don't reaccumulate. There are a lot of detoxification programs out there, but what I have found most effective is this product, SP Detox. This is a chai flavored whole food blend of different whole foods from an organic farm, and it's concentrated. You're not going to get better concentrated nutrients in any other powder or detox program that I have seen than this product. And all you do is you take a few shakes a day and you complete 2 tubs of this, and that's going to really clean house. It's going to open up the liver and the kidneys, and it's going to start to allow some of these fat cells to release those toxins. Okay, now if you've had stubborn weight loss and you're a female and you're over 40 and you've really taken care of yourself with the diet and exercise and things aren't budging, another product that I would add would be, this is a newer product by Standard Process, it's called Biofilm Probalance. And this product I have been using quite a bit, and it's really helped bust up something called biofilms. What often happens is the pathogens or the germs in your body, they want to survive, and what they'll do is they'll create a film over their little colony, and the immune system can't get to that area. And a lot of these pathogens, they live off of, they're kind of symbiotic with us in an odd way. They'll live off of heavy metals and chemical toxins, and some of these may be stuck in fat cells. And what we need to do is break up their little colony, break up their home. It has specific enzymes, probiotics in a base of organic garlic and kale, and it works wonders. I'm really telling you, this is one of the best products that Standard Process has come up with in a long time. I have one case where I used this, and a lady lost 10 pounds in about 2 weeks, and she couldn't lose weight. She tried this, she tried everything. I had been working with her for a long time, using all my tips and tricks, and it really did the job. I have another patient, and she was also having a hard time. What this is good for too is for candida. That's a fungus that can also get stuck in the fat cells and prevent weight loss, because the body is throwing this candida also in the fat cells. It's stuck there because it's toxic, right? So that's another thing. But what's also interesting is the candida also is a scavenger, and it will scavenge on heavy metals and chemical toxins, these things that are already in the fat cells. So in a funny way, some of these pathogens that we're exposed to in the environment, they're symbiotic in nature with us. But big picture, short term they might be that way, but long term they're going to accumulate in your system and create big problems. So we have to get them out. So what I would recommend is taking the Biofilm Probalance, especially if you've had stubborn weight loss and you're following a lower carb diet and you're exercising and things aren't budging. I would take 2 of these before bedtime for 2 weeks prior to any type of a detox program. And at that point, some of the biofilms are going to be broken up, and the candida and the heavy metals and chemical toxins are going to be more primed to be released in the system. And what I would do at that point is start on SP Detox Balance. This is a great product because it's simple. It's a shake. You can take 2 shakes a day, go through 2 tubs of this, eat a clean diet while you're doing it, watch out for coffee, alcohol, drink lots of water, and you're going to be way ahead of the game with your toxic load after going through that program. Okay? Now, I wish it was that easy. This is really the way to prime the pump, right? To get your body ready to detoxify at a deeper level. But what's happened is these things have accumulated for such a long time. The body has a pecking order of which toxins it wants to get rid of first. And that's unique to your body and what is most toxic. The body will take the most toxic item. Often it's a mercury or aluminum or a forever chemical, those chemicals that we're exposed to that just lodge in our system that are hard to get out. And we need special products to get those out. One of those special products is Chillicothe from Standard Process's sister company MediHerb. I've been using this product in my clinic for years. I've taken it personally, probably 2 decades now. And I haven't taken it for 2 decades. Off and on I've taken it. And I'll tell you my story in a second because I was really full of heavy metals and chemical toxins. I'll tell you that in a sec. But anyways, this product is 3 herbs. It has garlic bulb, it has milk thistle, and it has hawthorn. And what was found is those chelate or surround heavy metals or chemical toxins and take them out the proper channels safely. It's a mild product and great for heavy metal detox. Patients usually do really well on it. You know, these toxins are, again, toxic to the system, right? So you want to be able to do it safely, and this product does. When you're undergoing a heavy metal or chemical detox program, you want to make sure that the channels of elimination are open. And these herbs are really good at keeping the channels of elimination open, as well as pulling out and binding these heavy metals and chemicals. So just keep that in mind. There's a lot of different products out there, and you really want to be careful what you're taking. I have found this is the easiest for patients to assimilate, and it does a really thorough job. Detoxification often takes time. So you might need to take these products, the Biofilm, the SP Detox, and the Chillicothe. You may need to take these for months at a time. I often have patients on these a minimum of 3 months. And often what I do is once someone is done with 2 tubs of the SP Detox Balance here, is I'll have them just take a shake a day as sort of a meal replacement or a snack or in addition to a meal. It's really high in protein also. And that just keeps the detoxification process going at a lower level in a good way, right? But it could be 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or a year of being on these products at different dosages to really get these out of your system. Stubborn weight loss is not often a quick fix. You have to be patient with it. You know, there's a reason why your body doesn't want to drop this weight, especially if you're eating properly, like we said, and you're exercising. So the toxicity is one of those things that you can notice a difference right away, or it could be a bit of a process, and it could take 6 weeks to 2 months to 3 months before you get some traction. And it's okay. It takes time. You know, we're so used to a quick fix, lose 10 pounds in 10 days. I mean, it just doesn't always work that way. But if you match this profile I'm speaking of, stubborn weight loss despite exercise and eating properly, give this detox program a try. Be patient with yourself. It is a process. You know, you didn't get this way overnight, so give it time and you will see good results. Let's jump into the second hidden reason why you're not losing weight. And we really already have covered this because it really dovetailed with the chemical toxins and heavy metals that we're exposed to. But again, it's biofilms. And this Biofilm Probalance, this product is going to really help you. And why are biofilms such a problem? Well, the body can't get to the bug. It can't get to the germ. It can't get to the candida. And so we need to bust up its home so then the immune system can attack it and the body can release it. And candida is one of those things that causes stubborn weight loss. I've seen it time and time again. Just had a patient a few weeks ago, actually 2 patients in the last 3 months or so. One has dropped 10 pounds since she's been on the Biofilm Probalance. And another gal was getting some bloating and some midsection weight gain. and that totally resolved within a month. I just saw her put her on this. She had been on it for a month, and problem totally solved. She can fit into her pants again, and she's not feeling bloated and gassy and overweight. Candida can be a big problem, and there's a lot of information about Candida out there. What I'm really talking about is sort of a hidden lurking Candida. It's not that you're going to have all these traditional Candida overgrowth symptoms with discharge and itchiness and terrible gas, bloating, and the like. This is a lurking, low-grade kind of thing that's locking fat in the cells. Okay, so just understand that. And it is a process to get this Candida handled, and you do have to be careful of sugar, and you really have to follow a low sugar diet. How do you do that? Well, it's simple. Just keep your carbohydrates at 75 grams or less a day. Yes, things like fruit and fermented foods can feed the Candida, but I find if you keep your carbs at 75 grams or less a day, you're going to have minimal amounts of those kind of foods because you just can't eat too much of it, or you're going to bust through that 75 gram barrier, okay? And you're going to be up, 100, 150, 200 grams of carbs per day. That's a problem. Okay, so just keep it at 75 or less. Try the Biofilm Probalance, and I think you're going to be happy. Before we get into the last hidden reason why you're not losing weight, definitely drop a comment below and let me know what you think of this video. Do you have any questions? Have you tried any other weight loss procedures? Have you had any experience with going through a detox and losing weight? I'd love to hear from you. Also, feel free to take advantage again of my tips and tricks for sugar cravings in the description below. I have a report there and also a video on how to handle sugar cravings in about 10 days. Yeah. If you handle those sugar cravings, it's going to really help because then you're going to be able to easily keep your carbs down like you really should. And by the way, why 75 grams of carbs? Well, there was some Germans back in the 80s that studied what was the proper amount of carbohydrates for a body, for a body to run on. And it was found that about 75 was ideal. So the third hidden reason is hormones. You're just not producing enough hormones to get enough energy to build your metabolism, okay? So what happens is our adrenal glands make stress hormones, our thyroid makes thyroid hormones, our pituitary regulates all of our hormones, our pancreas makes insulin and glucagon, which regulate hormones. That's all technical stuff, but all those glands, they just don't work as well. So you need a kickstart, and it's hard to do that with just eating food. So what I recommend is if you are a female, Symplex F for female, and if you're a male, Symplex M. Now, Symplex F and Symplex M have been around for, probably 75 years right now. And these are glandulars that support all of your glands that make hormones. So it's just feeding those glands what they need, and then those glands are going to up level and work properly. So it's going to raise your metabolism. It's going to help your adrenal glands regulate cortisol properly. What does excess cortisol do? Well, it causes midsection weight gain. So we want to minimize that. That's that stress hormone that gets kicked in on a regular basis when you're not eating properly, when your blood sugar is up and down. It has to kick in to keep your blood sugar stable. If you're eating too much sugar and starch, if you're under a lot of stress, cortisol is going to get released. So that's for another video, but just to handle it from a nutritional standpoint, Symplex F or M is great. And by the way, these products can all be purchased. We have an online Shopify store, so you can see that in the description, and we do have a 10% discount code as well. One more caveat. If you are a postmenopausal female, what I would recommend in place of Symplex F would be Paraplex. The reason why is you do not need ovary support because the ovaries just aren't doing what they did. They're not making the estrogen and progesterone, to have babies, right? That ship has sailed. So Paraplex provides the same nutrients that the Symplex F has, but it doesn't contain ovary support. Instead, there's some pancreas support here. If you're sticking around still with me, awesome. I'm going to give you some extra tips and tricks at the end here and just a review to really help you with this, okay? So number one, you have to be patient. Number two, you have to make sure that you're keeping your carbs at 75 grams or less and that you're exercising, right? 3 times a week, 30 minutes minimum, preferably longer. Get that heart pumping, okay? Then you want to minimize your toxic exposure, and the next video is going to actually detail heavy metal and chemical toxicity, so make sure and take a look at that. You're going to want to go through a detox program. Remember I mentioned the Biofilm, Probalance, the Chillicothe, right, to chelate out those heavy metals and chemicals. Remember the biofilms, right? We got to bust those up, get rid of those so we can get to some of this stuff. And then the SP Detox Balance, right? 2 shakes a day for 2 tubs of this, and then possibly a maintenance. I usually take a shake in the morning just to kind of keep me going, get me a little protein, keep my detox pathways open. It's just a great product. I've fallen in love with it. You're not going to get any better concentrated whole food organic nutrition than you are in the product line of Standard Process. It's just the way it is. They grow all of their crops organically. They have close to 1,000 acres of organic farmland up in Palmyra, Wisconsin. I've toured their farm and their facility, I think 5 or 6 times now over the years. It's just amazing. You're getting concentrated food, healthy, nutrient-dense food in pill form or powder form that you are not getting in your diet, and you will never get in your diet until we have major revamps in our farming methods and our food supply. My last tip again is you need to support the glands that make hormones, right? And you can only do that with glandular extracts. Well, there's other methods that you can, but the easiest, cheapest, simple way to do that is if you're a male, Symplex M. If you're a female, Symplex F from Standard Process. If you're a postmenopausal female, then I would recommend the Paraplex. This is going to give you the genuine replacement parts to rebuild and regenerate your adrenal glands, your thyroid, your pituitary, your ovaries, your testes, the pancreas. All these areas, they need to be fortified and they need to be boosted. We get exposed to a lot of stress in our life, be it food stress from eating the wrong foods, chemical stress, environmental stress, mental, emotional stress from life, family, work, right? And we need that extra support for those glands. In our country, we don't eat organ meats, and you need some of these glandular extracts to build and regenerate these organs. So that's my 2 cents for today. Be sure and check out my next video above.